to talk about one of my favorite rolls, and that is the 11-stroke roll. And, you know, I came across this many years ago, and admittedly, I was kind of like, how am I ever going to use this in a drum set context? But in the last several years, I've come to realize that it has an inherent 3-note phrase built into it. And if you start experimenting with how you voice it around the kit, it can be a very creative and a very useful piece of vocabulary. All right, so right now, let's just look at what the 11-stroke roll is. I'm gonna play 2 11s and then a 7, and that will turn us back around to the top of the measure. Now we could play that twice and then extend it across the bar line so we can make a 4-note phrase out of this. So if I were going to play this in a warm-up, like in the Endless Possibilities warm-up, I would play this maybe either over a samba bass drum pattern, a mambo bass drum pattern, 4 on the floor. So let me show it to you over a mambo bass drum pattern. Now let me show it to you over a samba bass drum pattern. Now let me show it to you over what would be 4 on the floor. Technically, this is 1/8 notes on the bass drum, but you could use this as 1/4 notes on the bass drum and then turn all of this up here from 16ths and 32nds into 8ths and 16ths if we were playing in a more swinging out context. Then you could also do it over the Bonham engine, which is 1/8 notes in the hi-hat and upbeat 16th notes with your right foot on the bass drum. And then one of my favorite things to do with this is to chase the accents with the bass drum. So that means you're going to play the 16th note right after the accent on the bass drum. Then you can add in a bass drum note to make it a 3-note phrase on the bass drum that is answering that accent. Now you can start moving your right hand around the toms. You could also play the bass drum on the accents and move around with your right hand to the cymbals. Hopefully that gives you some ideas on how you can apply creatively the 11-stroke roll. And of course, you could extend it over the bar line a little bit more as well. So right now, I'm just going to play with it a little bit and extend it over the bar line. When I was a teenager studying with Marty Hurley and playing on the Brother Martin drum line, Marty really emphasized on us that we should learn how to start everything with our left. Of course, that takes a lot of work, and for a while, sometimes I would feel like, man, why am I working on this? What are we doing with this? But then by doing that, what happens is when you want to start something with your left, then you have that at your disposal. Sometimes I try to get creative on the drums and come up with some different things. So I'm always watching my friends and buddies playing, and Adam Deitch and Nikki Glassby, I saw them doing some sweeps coming down from the ride to the floor, but they were leading with their right. It was super hip, but I always try to think, well, what can I do to kind of flip it and make it a little bit more of my own? So I shifted the sweeps, and then I started realizing, oh, I'm sweeping from the ride to the floor on the E's and the ahs and playing accents with my left, and then trying to spell out a 3-note phrase with my left hand accents. I put this on top of the bottom engine, and what that did was create it so that my right foot was supporting the right hand on the ride cymbal, on the E's and ahs. So even though I'll improvise and experiment on the drum set and try to come up with some creative ideas in the moment, I always, when I get away from the kit, I try to figure out, at least on a pad, what is it that I'm actually doing? So let me show you what some of these sweeps sound like. So when I broke that down, I realized, oh, wait a minute. This is, what is it? Oh, it's a left-handed 11-stroke roll and then some 7s. But I'm playing that 11-stroke roll off the left hand. But then I'm splitting it up on the kit, but let's break it down and see what it is in the hands. So that's what it is if you break it down to a single surface. But what I did was I started putting the right hand up here on the ride, sweeping down to the floor, and then I put the bottom engine underneath that. So let me do that slowly for you. Keep in mind, if you need to see any of this slower, you can go into that settings wheel in YouTube and you can slow things down to 0.75 or 0.5 half speed if you need to. If you want to see me break that down even further and see how I work that up, going from slow tempo to medium to quicker, you can see that in my practice tip video, and the link to that video is in the description. If you liked this video, please hit that like button. Also subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified when I'm coming out with new lessons and behind the scenes videos. Until next time, see you down the line. Yes, indeed.